Well, good morning, everyone. This is Melissa Chambers, and thank you for being on our new power training webinar with us this morning. I've really been enjoying this series and learning and training with you guys and just having a good time, and we're getting lots of nice feedback that you're enjoying it as well. I hope you're keeping up with them, getting your teams to listen in on the webinars, doing the homework so you can really maximize some of the ideas and some of the concepts and start wonderful new habits for 2017. So thanks again for being on the call with us this morning as we continue this series. And of course I have my amazing partner in crime here, Jackie Moffenbauer, helping me out. How are you this morning, Jackie?
I am so fantastic this morning. I'm so excited for today. And Melissa, I want to make sure everybody knows that this is definitely teamwork, because everybody, you get to look at a great webinar because of Melissa. Her talents are unbelievable, and I really, really appreciate them that she can produce all these slides for me. So, yeah.
It's fun.
Melissa.
It's fun. Yes, ma'am.
I think we need to really start today by saying happy birthday to Canada.
Dun, da, da, da.
Birthday party. Yeah.
Yay! Happy birthday, Canada.
Yeah. Everybody is doing, there's birthday parties across the country happening right now. I'll never forget my very first one that Tish and I went out and flew out to Kelowna with TL, and what a stellar event. And that has just continue to grow, and I know in different areas all over Canada we have birthday parties going on with great meetings happening, with incredible, well, I know there's cake at a lot of these places, so I'm jealous.
Ooh, that sounds good.
So I think there's still time that if you want to check out on the calendars and that, you could probably find something in your area. So I strongly encourage that because it is so much fun.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. And yes, people check the calendars. Get on Facebook, call your friends, and go hang out with wonderful, incredible, amazing New Sarity peeps today and celebrate Canada's birthday. So I love that, Jackie. So what a great way to jump in.
Yeah. And I just want to do a quick review with everybody, and we're going to start with the first slide that we've got. And we talked about fear last week, and it being, it's fantasized experiences appearing real. And that's an acronym that we hear lots, and just things that we think about, because it's something to remember about fear, that as humans, we've evolved to a stage where almost all our fears are now just self-created. We are actually only afraid of loud noises and falling. Those are the only things. We've evolved out of everything else, and it's all become self-creating. So what we've done with that, we've frightened ourselves by fantasizing negative outcomes to any activity we might pursue. So luckily, because we're the ones doing the fantasizing, we're also the ones who can stop the fear by facing the actual facts rather than giving into our imagination. So I like the next slide even better. And this has become my motto for fear. And it's face everything and rise. The choice is yours. This is really what it's about. You can sit there and be holed up and not move forward, not take action because of your fears. But this acronym allows us to move forward. So we're going to face everything and rise. So that is my motto, and I hope you guys really take that on also. And that will help us move forward and take action. So let's check in with our homework that we did last week. And I had everybody doing an exercise called Stop Scaring Yourself. So the purpose of this is to better understand how we actually bring unfounded fear into our lives. So I asked you to make a list of things that you're afraid to do. And this is a list of things you're afraid, that you're not afraid of, like such as being afraid of spiders, but things that you're afraid to do, such as, in another word, is being afraid to pick up a spider. So other examples of that are, I'm afraid to ask my boss for a raise. I'm afraid to ask Sally out for a date. I'm afraid to go skydiving. I'm afraid to leave my kids home with a sitter. I'm afraid to ask my friends to look at a new business opportunity. So what we want to do is take those phrases and we want to go back and restate each fear using the following format. So I want to ask my friend to be a new business partner, and I scare myself by imagining that they won't even listen to me. So the key words in that whole thing is I scare myself by imagining. So all fear is self-created by imagining the negative outcome in the future. So the question to that, Melissa, is really, can you see that you're the one creating the fear?
Oh, absolutely. It's, our imaginations can just absolutely run wild with us. And, you know,
yeah,
worry over things and just, you know, go so negative. I call it, you know, you start circling the drain of all the things that you think are going to go wrong. And you're absolutely right. They're self-made, self-inflicted.
Yeah. So were you able to use this at all this week? Were you able to, because I know you're amazing, but I also know you're human. And I do it to myself all the time. I scare myself. Do you find yourself doing that sometimes?
Oh, yeah, and absolutely. Coming up on a conference, my fear level goes off the charts because, you know, I still am not that comfortable on stage. I still have my own fears of public speaking, right? That I'm gonna mess up, I'm gonna freeze, I'm gonna forget, I'm gonna say something stupid, I'm gonna say something, just stupid, you know? Or that I'll disappoint, right? That people won't have a good time, or maybe the content isn't as rich as I had hoped, or oh my gosh, yes, right before conference, I become like just this little fear ball. And so I use this, I was like, okay, I'm scaring myself because, you know, I don't want to disappoint. Or I tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist. And so it's like, you know, gosh, it's not going to, if I just had more time, I could do this, or that, or, you know what I mean? So
that's classic.
Yeah, I mean, it just can get out of hand. And so this was actually a really great exercise for me to do last week, and sort of, you know, okay, let me dial it back, take some deep breaths. It's all going to work out. I've got great resources around me, right?
Yeah. And I'm going to give you another great tip for that too. So when you say that I scare myself by imagining, you're putting a negative picture into your mind about your worst case scenario, right? And what we can do with this is turn it around. Instead of saying, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint people and they're not going to get what they need out of it, and that image is sitting in your head, change it around and change your words to saying, I am so excited for everyone to get everything they possibly can and what they need out of this conference. And then you can put in a positive image of all of us sitting there waving at you and clapping and having so much excitement and learning so much. So it's a great way to change the visuals inside your head and change your wording.
I like it.
I really, really like that. Yeah, it's really cool. And it's amazing how much it just lifts up your whole body. You'll even find your whole body just lifting up and opening up. So when you put those positive images in, it's so important, and it just changes your whole outlook. So, you know, today, by doing that, sorry?
I was just going to say, you know, I really like that, and it's funny, and I bet some of the folks on our webinar have experienced this too, that as you start doing this homework and as you start looking at your life and your fears and kind of keep creating a habit of yeah, sort of reversing like you just did, Jackie, looking at the positive, creating a new image, yeah, it becomes part of your thought process. You get better and better at it. And I didn't even really sort of realize it, except I was with some friends last night at dinner, and one of the gals was talking about that she's got a workshop this today, and they're going to be looking at their goals. She's an artist. She's part of the program, and she was really like, oh, I just don't know if I can do this or that, or I hope I do this or that. And everything was, with this caveat. And I remember just sort of saying, wow, instead of thinking that you're going to put these new pieces on the wall and you hope that you sell a couple of them, you're really, really talented. Instead, be so excited you've put these pieces on the wall, and every single one of them is selling. People are standing around going, wow, I love this, and how did you do that? And I love the colors, and they're excited, and they're loving them, and they sell, and they're walking out the door with them. And she's like, oh, it's a little hard for me to own it, but I get it, and that is what I want, So,
well,
it works.
It does work, and it's about creating the awareness. So when you start out doing this stuff, it's not easy, and it's not something that you're always conscious of, but that's the key word. You have to become aware, and it's about having your purpose with awareness. And when you can connect those dots that, oh, okay, I'm being negative here, you have to recognize the situation, and then you have to actually purposely sit there and change it. And you will find as you practice this, it changes much more quickly. You're not sitting in that negativity. You're able to recognize it faster, and you're able to turn it around into a more positive image that much quicker. It's practice.
I love it. I'm practicing.
Yes, you're practicing. So actually, that leads us perfectly into our next slide. And it says, every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. And this is about the practice of positivity and celebrating our successes and keeping a victory log. So this is an incredible tool that you can use absolutely every single day. And you can do this in a book. You can have 2 different ones if you want. You can have one for every day, and you can have one where you would put your goals on every single page, pick a different page for every goal, and then we're going to mark it off when it happens. But the way we start this, I want to just take you through this quickly and how to develop and start your victory log. So when I do this, I am 52 years old. I'm going to divide my life into 3 equal parts, and everybody can do this. Take your age, divide it into 3. So for me, that breaks down from 0 to 17 years old, 17 years to 34 years, and 34 to 52. And I'm not 52 yet, but I'm close. I keep pulling it back a little. But the way you do that, then what I want you to do, once you've divided it into 3 separate areas, I want you to write down 3 successes you've had in each era. So, for example, from 0 to 17, well, I learned to walk, I learned to talk, I learned how to read, I graduated from grade 12. So those are some good examples. And you can add in some of your own. And then from the age group from 17 to 34, some of my successes I had was I played national basketball. I had 3 beautiful children. I owned 5 different businesses. So those are some of my successes I had in that time period. And again, just you can write down more than 3. It's great. So then from age 34 to 52, I have 4 incredible grandbabies. I've become a certified trainer for Jack Canfield and CTT. I am getting new customers and business partners for my business with Nucerity. So those are just some examples that I have written down. And the purpose of this is to be able to look at that every day and see the successes I've had. Now you can write down things as simple as, I didn't burn tonight's supper. It's successes. So when we can go back and look at our victory log, we can see that we are very successful. We've done some incredible things in our lives. And in our victory logs, as we achieve some of our goals that we've been working on here for these last few weeks, we can go back into that and say, oh, yeah, I know I can have self-confidence because I have accomplished these things. I can feel good about myself when I've had a rough day where things haven't really gone well. And I can look back and say, yeah, I have successes. I'm okay. And what I'd like people to do with this victory log is, no matter what has happened in your day, there is something good in every day. Write it down. You have had successes every day. So this is just something I'd like you to start, and it gives you self-confidence. It lets you know that, yeah, I'm okay and I'm moving forward. So I also now want to just continue with that, because that's something you can work on with our next slide. And this is review from last week, is our rule of 5. And I really like this. If you want to increase your success rate, double your failure rate. To me, Melissa, this means if you really want to be successful, you have to be willing to fail and take chances.
Yeah, I love this.
Do you think that's a fair?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, you've got to try. You've got to keep putting yourself out there. There's nothing worthwhile in life that you want to accomplish, that you want to achieve, that doesn't involve failure, right? It would be so cool if we were put on this planet, you know, with Einstein IQs and just, you know, immediately knocked everything out of the park. But we grow through life. We grow through the stumbles and brushing, you know, getting yourself up, brushing your knees off, and keep going. That's you know, that's how we learn. And the more we put ourselves out there, the more we embrace just the learning process, and that there are going to be failures. Yes, absolutely. The faster you will succeed, the more that you and your teammates talk to people and hear no's or fumble or say something that you think, oh man, that wasn't good, or I could have done that better. That's how you keep practicing and improving, right?
You better believe it. And I really like turning that failure rate around into learning and lessons, and just not now. And that can change it from what it is. And again, change your feeling of getting those no's. So that is very important, and it's changing your attitude about how you're looking at it. And I think that's really important. When we talked last week, also the rule of 5, we talked a little bit about getting accountability partners. And I hope some of you have really gone out and taken that seriously, because it is a huge commitment. And when I gave you that little interview guide, I'm hoping that is something that you use and really implement, because I think everybody will find more success with that, and it's just a tool, and it makes it more serious. It's not just friends getting together and saying, oh yeah, did you do this? No, I didn't do it. and actually having accountability to not doing what you've asked for your rule of 5 for every day. So that is some of last week's stuff that I hope everybody is implementing and using. And that brings us into this week a little more in our next slide. And it's really, really important. And this is part of taking action. And history filled with examples of incredible riches and astounding benefits people have received simply by asking for them. So simply as surprising as just asking, it tells us that asking is one of the most powerful principles of all that we can use. But it's still a challenge that holds most people back. It's really tough for some people. So if you're like most people, you may be holding yourself back by not asking for the information or the assistance, the support, or the money and the time that you need to fulfill your vision and make your dreams come true. So why are people so afraid to ask? They're afraid of many things, such as looking needy, looking foolish, and looking stupid. But mostly, they're afraid of experiencing rejection. And that takes us to our next slide, Melissa. They're afraid of hearing the word no. And the sad thing is, they're actually rejecting themselves in advance. They're saying no to themselves before anyone has even had a chance to do so themselves. So if you aren't getting rejected on a daily basis, then your goals aren't ambitious enough. That says a lot to me, Melissa. We have to put ourselves out there. And if we're not asking people and giving people the opportunity to say yes or no, our goals aren't ambitious enough. Maybe we're just sitting back a little bit too much.
I love seeing this slide. Yeah, this is so powerful to me because we tend to really play it safe and then wonder why we're frustrated with our lives or why we're not getting what we want or why we feel stuck in a rut or why other people seem to be so lucky or they've just got it all going on and if we really analyze it, we're not being ambitious enough. We're playing it very, very safe because of the fears and, like you said, primarily the fear of rejection. So I printed this slide out and I put it on my office. I really love this. This is a great quote.
Yeah, I do too. And I think it's an opportunity for us to be really honest with ourselves. Because we can really look and say, oh, did I do enough today? Did I do my daily 5 that is putting me out there? So people, they don't assume that you're going to get a no. You have to take the risk to ask for whatever you need and want. If they say no, you're no worse off than you were when you started. So if they say yes, you're a lot better off. So just by being willing to ask, you can get a raise, you can get a donation, you can get a room with an ocean view, you could get a discount, a free sample, anything, or help something simple, help with the housework. So there's a specific science to asking for and getting what you want or need in life. And that will bring us to our next slide. And what I've got for you today are some tips to get you started. So the very first one is ask as if you expect to get it. Ask with a positive expectation. Ask from the place that you have already been given it. It's a done deal. Ask as if you expect to get a yes. Melissa, I cannot tell you how often this has worked for me. And I can recall so many instances, and I can recall the fear that I was imagining what would happen if they didn't say yes. And but I felt that fear, and I did it anyway. And I ask in a manner that I expect to get it. So it's in a positive manner. It's not in the form of a question as, do you think you could help me with this meeting that I'm going to do? Or phrase it in just the tone of your voice. Hey, Melissa, I have a meeting come up. Do you think you would be able to help me with it? Do you see the difference between those two?
Oh, night and day. One sounds meek and sort of fearful and very, tiptoeing in, and the other one is excitement and dedication and commitment and sure, I want to say yes.
Yep, and that is a great tool for anybody. Changing the tone of your voice, changing your body language. If you go into it with a positive, uplifted voice and a smile on your face, people want to help you. It's as simple as that. And lots of times, like, they will try to move heaven and earth for them to be able to help you. So ask as if you expect it. Let's go to the next slide. And this one is assume you can. We generate the results in life we believe we deserve. So this is, again, part of our goals. And this is how we work towards getting those. So don't start with the assumption that you can't get it. If you're going to assume anything, assume you can get an upgrade. Assume you can get a table by the window. Assume that you can return it without a sales slip. Assume that you can get a scholarship, that you can get a raise, that you can get tickets to at this late date. Don't ever assume against yourself. And again, this is about inner work. This is something you have to practice. It's about taking those I'm scared of by imagining and change them around into those positive images in our head. And again, I use this all the time and very effective. And I don't know, I believe you do. I see that all the time, and I feel it in your energy. So I think that's a tool you probably use lots also.
Yeah, I think I generally have a pretty positive outlook that people want to help. People want to assist, right? And I have this wonderful friend that lives down in around Sarasota, Florida, and she's the master at this. I joke with her and I tell her that she has the Jedi wave, because we can be in the craziest situations where, you know, it's sold out, but we're trying to get in. There's no more rooms, but we want the one with the ocean view. Where, you know, you're trying to get the last 2 seats for a Broadway show. It's impossible, right? And Julie has this incredible ability to just connect with somebody. And truly, she doesn't know she does it, but she has this natural kind of hand gesture, sort of this little, very subtle wave that she does it. I've now coined the Jedi wave, because she does that and has that attitude, and she gets flipping everything she wants. It is amazing, but it's that assume that she can, and she always does. So she's my coach on that. I love it.
Well, and I love making it a game, because we all want stuff. We all want those upgrades. We all want a better seat or something, and I make it a game. So I always go in with the attitude, it sure doesn't hurt to ask. You know, the worst thing they're going to do is say, no, I didn't have it before. And if they say, no, I didn't have it after. So my life hasn't changed. So it's a game, and it's actually a lot of fun. And by doing that and asking people, I have received so much that it just, I laugh inside every time, because it's just so much fun, and I get all these great things. So it's a great thing to practice.
I love that.
Okay, let's get into our next slide here. And I love the picture with this. Ask someone who can give it to you. You have to qualify the person. Who would I have to speak to get? Who is authorized to make a decision about? What would have to happen for me to get? These are great ways to qualify who you're talking to. There's a commercial on TV now that I always see, and it's a man, and you see him talking about how he has to quit smoking, and this is it, but I can't do it by myself, and he's sitting there talking to his dog. You have to ask someone who can actually help you, and you have to qualify them. And I actually find the words, what would have to happen for me to get? Because that gives you the opportunity, for example, if I was talking to someone, say, in a hotel, and I wanted to say, what would have to happen for me to get an upgrade in my room, they might say, well, you need to speak to my manager. Then I can say, okay, fantastic, may I speak to your manager? Because it doesn't work if you're not qualifying the person and there's somebody who can't help you get what you want. So you're doing a little research to get all these things that we want. So that's what I think is really important. The next slide, if we could go to this one, I think this is probably one of the most important things. And we have to be clear and specific. And I just want to do a little demonstration with you, Melissa, and just to hammer this home. So if I was to say to you, Melissa, would you like some money?
Well, sure.
Great. Here, Melissa, here's a loonie.
Wow, thank you.
Is that enough for you?
Well, not quite. I'd like a little more.
You would?
Uh-huh.
Well, let's go. Let's see. Here's 2 quarters for you. Is that enough, Melissa?
Maybe I needed to be more specific. I'd like $1 million.
Yeah. You know, it's because we can play a game of how much more do you want for days, and you would never get what you want. So when you say that and you're specific and you're asking for a specific amount, and sorry, I can't give you $1 million. But
wait, who would I have to speak to in order to get what I want? Who would I have to speak to?
Well, I have a few suggestions for you, but
okay.
The first one is start the most likely, try lottery ticket. Or better yet, become Crown Diamond in New Cerity.
There you go.
You better believe it. So what it is really about being specific. So vague requests produce vague results. Your requests need to be specific. When it comes to money, you need to ask for a specific amount. Don't say, I want a raise. Say, I want a raise of $500 a month. When it comes to when you want something done, don't say soon or whenever it's convenient. Give a specific date and time. For example, don't say, I want to spend some time with you this weekend. Say, I would like to go out for dinner and a movie with you on Saturday night. Would that work for you? My husband just yelled at me and said, yeah.
All right, see, ask.
That's right. So when it comes to a behavioral requirement, be specific. Say exactly what you want the person to do. Don't say, I want more help around the house. Say, I want you to wash the dishes every night after dinner and take out the garbage Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights. So you can almost pick up little contracts there. You know, but you have to be very clear and very specific about what you want. And trust me, again, it's things that I have to practice this stuff every day. And I get better every time. And I think it's going to be, again, a lifetime of practicing these skills. And that excites me because then it opens up, I know there's great possibilities out there, and just opening doors left and right. So let's go to the next slide. And this is so important. It's about asking repeatedly. So one of the most important things is being persistent, not giving up. Whenever you're asking others to participate in the fulfillment of your goals, some people are going to say no. It's a fact of life. They have other priorities, commitments, and reasons not to participate. It's not a reflection on you. Just get used to the idea that there's going to be a lot of rejection along the way to your goal. The key is not to give up. When someone says no, you keep on asking. Why? Because when you keep on asking, even the same person again and again, you might get a yes. On a different day, when you have new data to present, after you've proven your commitment to them. There's so many people sitting out there watching us to see what we're going to do with our Nucerity business before they're interested, but they're watching. You might get a yes when circumstances have changed, or when you've learned how to close better. This is an acquired skill. The faster we get better at closing, the faster we'll get more yeses. And it might be just as simple as when the person has to be able to trust you more. So the cool thing is, like, I don't know, for people who have been around little babies or kids get this better than anyone. They will ask the same person for the same thing over and over again without hesitation. They just, frankly, they wear us down. And I don't know, with my own, I've got little grandbabies right now, and they're getting, they've learned to crawl, and you can see them, and they're crawling usually towards something that they're not supposed to touch. I pick them up, and I bring them back, and immediately they're crawling back towards what they want. They are focused, and they know what they want, and they keep going for it. So it's just, no matter how many times I keep pulling them back, they keep going for it because they're focused. So be like a baby. Keep going, Melissa. Keep going.
That's right. You know, Jackie, you said something that really reminded me of something I read maybe a couple months ago. When you were talking about, you know, being really clear and specific on, you know, what it is that you want. Not, I want to raise, but I want $500 a month raise, being really clear. Yeah. And it said it was a lifetime of practice. It reminded me that, you know, sometimes we can do this weird little stubborn self-sabotage to ourselves, and it goes something like this. Well, if they really loved me, they would know what I want. If they were as committed as I am to Nucerity, they would just know this. If, you know, if they were really my best friend, they would, you know, they would know what I want. And yeah, obviously that's a very unproductive state of being, right? That people don't read our minds. People aren't always on the same place that we are. People have had you know, you're having a great day and they're having a bad day. People are preoccupied. People are just people, right? We're all individuals. And so I think, you know, if you're finding yourself holding back from saying what I want, do a little gut check, a little heart check of, is there any sort of stubbornness going on with you? Is there any sort of little bit of, well, I shouldn't have to ask, you know, or I'm tired of asking, or, you know, particularly that can come up in relationships, but it also can come up with our friends, and it can come up with business partners, you know, that we get frustrated, you know, someone's not quite on the same high-speed page drive that we are. Remember, we're all bringing our own stuff to this. But again, maybe I'm scared. Maybe Jackie's been, wanting me to step up more with some of our BizOp meetings, and she's thinking, well, Melissa keeps saying that she wants this, that she wants to be, platinum, and I'm not seeing it, and maybe I just don't know what to do. Maybe I'm stuck in a big ball of fear right now. But if Jackie is clear on what she wants, and clear on directions, and clear on what she thinks is going to help me, and says, Melissa, I know you've been coming to our meetings, but I really, next week, absolutely want you to cover one of the 5 Ps. I think you'd be great at covering people. So would you share your story of when you met Lonnie? Yes. Right?
Yeah.
Is that a good example?
Yeah, I think so. And it's about that, and it brings so many of these other topics that we've been talking about, and the tools that we've given about how to overcome those fears. And it's about being upfront with each other and opening up that communication. Because, again, like you said, we're not mind readers. So if you're ever in that position, it is a two-way street. Discussions and dialogue has to happen. And I think we would find that a lot of our lives would become a lot easier. Because we assume way too much.
That is for sure.
I don't know if I didn't throw this slide in again this week, but I wanted to go back to how last week when I was telling about how 44% of all salespeople quit trying after their first call, and 24% quit after their second call, and 14% quit after the third call, and 12% quit trying to sell to their prospect after the 4th call. That's 94% of people quit after the 4th call. But I wanted to hammer home this point. 60% of all sales are made after the 4th call. So that shows that 94% of all sales people don't give themselves a chance at 60% of the prospective buyers. And that's what it is. You may have the capacity, but you also have to have the tenacity. So to be successful, you have to ask. That is what is so important, and why we need to do this in our business over and over and over again. So I would like to go on to the next slide, and I just want to check in here from last week too. And if everybody's been following along weekly, you should have your list from your homework last week. And what we did was figuring out what we needed to ask ourselves for. And I'm hoping everybody has a list, and we did 7 areas of what we need to ask for in our different 7 areas. And we were to write next to each one, how do we stop ourselves from asking? What's our fear? So we're going to expand on that a little more today. So if you have your list, get it beside you, or you can listen to the recording and you can do it at that time. So that'll bring us to our next slide, and this is our homework for this week. And I'm calling this, what do you need to ask for worksheet. So the example for our first area, for the financial goals, you could say, I want to make an additional 500. Well, let's go back to asking the raise. I would like to ask for a $500 raise. How do I ask? How do I stop myself from asking? And that's the next area that I would like you guys to fill out. How do I stop myself from asking? Do I see myself or picture myself getting turned down? Do I have a picture in my head of the boss laughing me out of his office? I guarantee you, lots of people think that. So then the next thing I want you to do is, beside that, is write down, what is it costing me not to ask? What is the cost for me not asking? So is the cost that if I don't get that $500 raise, I can't make my mortgage? Or the cost is, if I don't ask for that $500 raise, I can't take my family on a holiday. So then the other part comes down to asking yourself the question, what benefit would I get if I asked? It could be improved self-esteem, improved self-worth. I can pay my mortgage. I can take my family on that trip. So there are some great things, and it really lays it out for us, because it brings home, I think, Melissa, is it just me holding myself back? Is this an opportunity for me to face my fears? And what's the cost? What is this really costing me by not asking? And what is the benefit if I ask? Would you agree with that? Do you think that would bring up some things and really make it more clear for you?
Oh, I love this worksheet. I do, because we sometimes just simplify our goals. Oh yeah, I really want $500 extra on my paycheck. That'd be great, and I deserve it, and I hate my boss, and why doesn't he know this, and blah blah blah, right? But then to really have to analyze, well, what's holding me back? Why am I not asking? And be really honest with that. And what I like too is when we really look at and be open-minded, be creative with these answers, because when you were going through this, what is it costing me not to ask? I also started thinking about, besides just the financial side, but self-esteem, confidence, but also, perhaps the boss's appreciation of me, perhaps my promotability, because bosses want people who also take initiative and have pride in their work. And so what are the benefits that I would get if I asked? Again, it goes beyond, well, I have a little more money in my pocket, and maybe I get the vacation, but the self-confidence and the the perception of me at work. And so when you really have to stop and ask the value of those decisions and the cost of not taking action is it's really expanded. It's a lot bigger than just the first glance at it.
It is, and again, it's about the opportunity. So much of personal development is an inside job. And these are things that we do have to look at and really be honest with ourselves. It's simple not to do these exercises or just to, like you said, touch them very lightly. But when you go in and actually look deep and ask yourself the hard questions, and especially, what is it costing me to not ask? I think this is life-changing. This is where we can really go, yeah, this is really what it is. And what's benefiting me by staying where I am? And what would benefit me if I could change and move on? So I think that is so powerful. And for homework this week, I would love for everybody to please ask all these questions on all 7 levels and areas in our lives from your goals that you have been creating. Your career, your business goals, your fun time, family time, your recreation goals, your health, your fitness, and your appearance goals, your relationship goals, your personal growth and purchase goals, and making a difference and contribution goals. And I'm excited. I hope everybody emails some information on how this has changed for you, because this is some real deep work. And I think you will surprise yourself, and I think just the change in how you feel and making some decisions really will change your outlook of where you're going in your life. And I would like that to bring us to the next slide, Melissa. And I'd like to do an exercise with you. And it's how to ask for help to move forward. So in order to take action, lots of times we need help to move forward in our goals. In fact, most of the time, taking action requires us to ask for support or requires us to ask for help in areas that we don't know enough about, or we just need extra manpower. So many times we're getting into some new area in our life where we don't know the right people, so we need to ask others. Following the old adage, it's not what you know, but who you know. The more people you ask, the more you will learn, and the more people you will eventually get to know. So this next exercise is all about asking, and everybody can do it at home. And asking effectively is a skill. So many people have a stigma around asking. They're afraid. Either we don't want to impose on people, or we don't want to look needy, or we don't want to feel inferior in any way. We don't live in a society that's accustomed to or comfortable with asking. So what we're going to do is I would like you to fold your hands, just like in the picture. Fold your hands. Now look down, Melissa, and see which thumb you have on top, the right or the left.
Left.
You've got your left?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So if we're doing this, there's going to be about 50% of the people that have their right hand, or their right thumb on top. So who's right?
I am.
Nobody, right? Yeah. The fact is, it doesn't matter. So there's no right or wrong way to fold your hands. That goes with everything else. There is no right or wrong way to be in the world, just the way that works for you. So we're not talking about morals and values here. We're not saying it's okay to kill someone or to rob a bank. We're talking about personality characteristics such as being outgoing or being shy, talking a lot or being quiet, liking sports or liking music, etc. So now I'd like you to refold your hands so that the other thumb is on top. Don't just move your thumb, move all your fingers. So if you put your hands up and your one thumb was on top, move all your fingers the other way so the other thumb is on top. Well, how does that feel, Melissa?
Feels like I have 15 fingers. Very awkward.
Yeah, it feels yucky, it feels awkward, strange, wrong, uncomfortable. So you have to realize that half of the people in this room find that way comfortable. Half the people in the world find this other way comfortable. So remember, there is no right way. There's just whatever works for you. So that's all it is, and it's about getting out of our comfort zone. I can guarantee you, if you did that and changed your hands and had them the opposite thumb on top, after about 10 times, that would start feeling more comfortable. So it's all about getting out of your comfort zone. It's all about asking. So there's one other thing I want everyone to do, and that brings us to our next slide. It's how much by when. So when we have we've got our worksheet out and we're working on our financial goals and we're looking at how do I stop myself from asking, what's the cost, what benefit I would get if I ask, I would now like you to add on to that actions that I will take. Actions that I will take. And here's the trick. I want a date, by when. I want to know how much, and write a time down. So I will ask my boss for a raise by Wednesday at 5 p.m. And then you're going to add one more little column that says done, and then you get to check it off. This is what makes our goals powerful. It's how much by when. Do you think that's something that you would find effective, Melissa?
Oh, I love it. Yes, it makes it concrete. And if you're working with, accountability partners, how much clearer could I be than, Jackie, I'm going to ask my boss for a raise by this Thursday, 5 o'clock. I want my $500 a week raise. It's very clear, right? You know exactly what to ask me and what, whether I get my check mark or I don't.
Yeah. And it's the same thing if you're using it for a weight goal. Say, I want to lose 10 pounds by March 30th by 5 p.m. And the cool thing is when you do that, Melissa, if a third party could come into the room and you stood on the scale at 5 p.m. at March 30th and you had your goal weight that would bring you down to losing that 10 pounds, that person would be able to physically see that it was accomplished. So that's another little caveat you can put on there, is if a third person could actually see that you've done it. So that brings us to our last slide today. And I love this. I love this picture. And I'm not what has happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Carl Jung. And he's a psychologist, and just some of his work that I've been reading lately. And I get to choose. Everything that we're doing, things are not happening to us. Life isn't happening to us. We get to make the choices. And that brings us all the way back to our very first personal development thing we were talking about, was E plus R equals O, event plus response equals outcome. It's our choice. And what can improve that even more is a thing called attitude, Melissa. We get to choose whether or not we have a good attitude about our life and the events that happen, and we get to choose how to respond to them. What do you think about that?
I think this is incredibly powerful. I particularly like the first sentence, I'm not what has happened to me, right? I'm not that I didn't understand Nucerity before. I'm not that other people have hit some goal by 3 years and I haven't. I'm not my fears. I'm not my childhood. I'm not my good relationship. I'm not my bad relationship. I'm not, a horrible teacher said something to me when I was 12 and I've never let it go. I'm not all that junk that has happened to me. I'm what I choose to become now. And you're right, with attitude, with personal development, with being brave, with not letting fears stop us, with really saying, what is it costing me to stay wrapped up in in the past and what I think I am from that old baggage, and instead, what's that costing me? What could the world open up to me? What could I enjoy? What could I share by choosing to become my best me? I just love this because it is all about our attitude, our choices, our mindset, who we surround ourselves with, and the actions that we take. And everyone on this webinar is unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable.
Absolutely. Well, and the best part about this, Melissa, is every second, every minute, every day, we get to make that choice. We can choose to change at any time. It's unlimited. And that's what I hope for everybody, is that they choose and make the choices that help them become the best they can be.
Woo! I love this. I love this. Jackie, thank you for another wonderful, thought-provoking training. I hope everyone took good notes, do your homework. I think this is one of the the strongest assignments. It's all coming together, folks, and really a chance to analyze this now. And, you know, what is it costing you to not be pursuing your goals? And what are you going to do? What are the actions that you can do starting right now? I mean, you've got this wonderful Canadian birthday going on this weekend. What an opportunity for Yahoo to take some action and change those attitudes and make the right choices for yourself, for your future, for your family. Right? Start it right this second. Change it up. Make it bigger. Make it bolder. And live the life that you want to design. So, Jackie, thank you. Thank you again. Great as always, and thanks to everyone on the webinar and on the line today. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure and share with your teammates. Let them benefit from what you're learning and understanding as well. And we absolutely will see you again next Saturday for part 6. And have an incredible weekend, everybody. Happy birthday, Canada. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Happy birthday. Bye-bye.